Hello, everyone, and welcome to our little show. My name's Dimitri. My friend's name is
Hey,
Andrada. We've done 5 episodes, but no one's ever going to see them because they all had issues. So for
and
you
so we
guys,
removed them from from the internet. Yes.
yeah, exactly. So this is officially episode 1 for you guys. And every week we try to sit down and talk about things that happened throughout the week. And hopefully this will catch on and you guys can also come into our little um, I don't know, what should we call this? A little chat.
Yes, our little talk show. I don't like calling it a vlog just because it sounds like something that this is not. It's just it's a chat. We just discuss and dissect the current events, and feel free to join us since we're all pretty much stuck at home these days.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it's opening now in Cyprus, so I don't know. I mean, in most European countries, it's opening. How about you guys?
We actually just had a relaxation of the restrictions 2 days ago on the 15th of May. We're not opening up a lot of things, but they just allowed people to open businesses like hair salon and beauty salons,
Oh, okay.
dentist practices, and churches. But with churches, it's not so much as you can't really go to church normally. They're not allowed to have mass inside, just outside, and people are supposed to keep distance and wear a mask if they go there. Um, and we're now allowed to go within the city range without a written declaration.
Okay.
Because before, even when we went shopping, we had to like sign a declaration saying where I live, where I'm going, and what's the
Don't you
purpose.
just have to send a message on the mobile?
You could do it online, but it's a declaration. You need to like check the things that apply to you, like what the reasons that
Wow, really?
that you're
For us, it was
yeah.
different. For us, we there was numbers 1 through 8 on what you could do if you wanted to go outside, if you wanted to, shop, if you
Hmm.
wanted to work out, wherever. And you put that number in a SMS message, then your ID card, and then your postal code. And then they would send you a message back if you're approved.
Okay, so you actually had to be approved. That's
Yeah.
interesting. For us, it was mostly a PDF, and you would just open it on your phone and just check just fill in your
The info.
information.
Okay.
Then, yeah, check the right points there, like going out for shopping or going to
Wow.
walk your dog. And then at the end, you had to sign it, and you just save it as a PDF. Sure, you can print it as well and show it to the police officer if they stop you.
Yeah, they
But I
stop.
do wonder what's the better user experience, to have a PDF like that to just fill, or actually send an SMS with your information every time. But I guess if you copy
Yeah,
paste
that's what
your
we did. We just
information.
copy paste. And you were always approved because there were restrictions on how many times you could go out. So if you just sent
uh,
another one, for example, when you're only allowed to go out once, it would just disapprove you.
so that's actually pretty smart. You Because they also have more control over it. It's easier for you.
Yeah,
But
because if
I
the
do wonder. Go
if
ahead.
if the police stopped us, you'd have to show the message. And if you didn't have the message within the 3 hours, they would just book you.
Huh. That is cool though. But in a country like Romania, I do wonder what
The
a lot of
volume would
people
be
don't. Yeah, and a lot of people, the volume, sure, we have a much higher populate. We have a bigger population, but also there's a higher number of people who don't really have access to technology. There's
oh,
like
okay.
old people. I do wonder about people like my grandfather who are really old. They can hardly see, even when I call him, he can't really see too well. He can't really, like pick up. He doesn't hear too well. So for them, for these people, having a printed declaration that they can sign is better.
Yeah, I mean, for us it was 60 and over. They had a paper
Okay.
that they had to hold with them at all times.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
great actually. Yeah.
basically before we were talking about how tourism might get cheaper because they would want to bring people back into the countries, especially in Italy, Spain, Cyprus, Greece, where tourism is the main source of um, what do you call it?
Income.
Yeah, income is the word, the main source of income. But I was thinking because there's like Airbnb and other types of sharing, basically, where you share the I can't find my words today. Like the shared economy in general, like even Uber and
Right.
Lyft and all this stuff, like they covered a lot. Like a lot of people chose them, they preferred them than having to pay for a hotel for 3 weeks
For
or
sure.
3 days. And since everyone's going to be scared to use that now, I think tourism will still, they'll be able to get all of those people back from what they lost
I
before.
I do wonder. I don't know. I was just out of curiosity. I was looking for Airbnbs in Bucharest today, just to see what's going on. And I found some places that are a little bit cheaper than they used to be, like in the area where I'm living.
Yeah,
And if you go to check their profile, they say everything's been disinfected according to the rules, according to like the national laws and policy and health policy and everything. Everything's been disinfected. Everything is being cleaned and disinfected after every guest we have.
yeah.
Um, honestly, I don't
Would you
know.
go though? Would you risk going?
Honestly speaking, in my experience, when I used Airbnb, it was usually cleaner than when I used hotels
Wow,
because
okay.
an Airbnb host usually is a private person. It's their place. They have rating on that
Yeah.
website. They want to keep it clean and nice. A hotel, they have people who are like, employees do the cleaning. Sure, they also have a rating on Booking, but there's so many rooms
Yeah,
that
and there's
if
so
one
many
or
things
two
that
are
can go wrong as well.
right, like so many things can go wrong. You have so many rooms. If one person says, oh, my room wasn't clean, I mean, it's one room in like 50 or 500, it's probably not such a big deal. People are going to think like, oh, well, that was an exception, or maybe that one person was just a bitch or whatever. So in my experience, I haven't used Airbnb that much, but in my experience, whenever I used Airbnb, it was a little bit more expensive, but it was a better experience. The
What, it was
host
more
was
expensive than a hotel, you mean?
um yes, but also because I searched for places in the very heart of the city center
Oh,
because I
okay.
wanted to, so it like in Italy I went to this little apartment that was in Bari in the south of Italy. So all of the locals were there. Women were making pasta out there in front of their small apartments. They were singing. Like you could really feel the life of the place. So it was maybe a little more expensive than a nicer hotel, but in a further area of the city.
Yeah.
And it was always the hosts seem to try a little bit harder to
To
make an
make sure
extra
you're
effort.
nice and happy and yeah.
Oh, yeah, to give you little tips, to leave a little chocolate on your bedside, to something. So I don't know. Maybe they're gonna, again, that's why I'm saying maybe they're gonna try also a little harder because if these are people that don't have other sources of income, they're going to really need guests to come there. Hotels, they're also, yeah, sure, they're also
I mean,
suffering
a
right
lot of
now.
hotels are getting help from the governments as well, so it's not that bad for them. But
They are, they are.
I think the hotels especially will be fine if they do just those family packages. That will, I mean,
Yes,
there's easy ways to do something nice and cheap to keep everyone in the hotel. They don't even have to like go outside the hotel.
exactly. And especially if it's a resort, you
Oh
can't really
yeah,
go outside because there's not much to do, right?
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you saw that the football league in Germany, the Bundesliga, it started again. It in
But without audience, right? They're
Yeah,
just gonna
without
play
audience,
games.
and it's a bit strange because okay, it's football, right? when people play football, they're hitting each other, they're sweating on each other, they're spitting everything, they're
You're
jumping,
right.
and then
I wasn't even thinking about that. Yeah.
here's the icing on the cake. For this is how stupid it is, how ridiculous this whole situation has become. When someone put a goal, and when they celebrate as a team, they weren't celebrating as a team. They weren't hugging. So
Oh,
there were
so what are they
spaces in
doing? They're just
between.
like,
Yeah, it was like, yes, and the people were like 2 meters away clapping and stuff like that. It's so stupid and it makes absolutely no sense. So I don't think like if they're allowed to do this, and even there's just no logic between the two. I think hotels will be able to get away with anything.
probably, especially since, I mean, how much can you actually check on them? Can you go to every single room? Can you go to every single
Yeah, exactly.
hotel? You know?
I, and if it's like the football, then you just won't have buffets anymore and stuff like that. And
Yeah,
you
most
have
likely.
each person 2 meters away. And if and in the night shows where people are singing, you just have people spread out, I guess.
But you know who's going to suffer a lot? I was actually speaking to a friend of mine today, and we think that hostels are going to be in deep trouble because with them, just imagine you have like a room for 8 people. How is that going to work? Are you even allowed to bring in 6, 8 different
Yeah,
people to sleep
probably
in the
not.
same room? Probably not. Breakfast also, because some of them offer breakfast, and it's all like, people having to press the same button for toaster, people having to use the same spoon to put like cereals in their bowls. That's also going to be impossible. Yeah, I don't know. Are you just gonna use one bed in an 8 bed room just
Room, yeah.
because
It's convoluted, honestly. The whole thing is
it
just, it's become ridiculous now. I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna control all this, and the rules and regulations. It just seem silly, especially with this thing with the football. So I guess we'll just have to see. But tourism can't lag behind with this. They really have to get on it, especially
they
for
do.
countries like mine.
Yeah, I guess the advantage of Romania not really having a big tourism industry is that, like, yeah, it's not really going to affect us that much now because it didn't count before that too much.
I mean, especially
Um,
Bucharest is now that it's become like a business city, and it's pretty like advanced in technology as well. So I think yeah, Romania actually is going to be one of those countries that's going to be fine.
it's Yeah, I mean, to some extent, sure. Bucharest has become more important on this, like, yeah, on the tech map, because we have a lot of talent and it's much cheaper than in, Western European countries, for sure. And a lot of big companies came to Bucharest in the last few years, like mine, Oracle, Amazon, GoPro, a lot of them
Amazon
came.
came as well.
Yeah, they don't have a huge office, but I think last year or 2 years ago they
Do
just
they have
opened it. So
Amazon Romania? You mean like I can order stuff from a paid web page,
no,
uh,
no, no, no. I think they just do
warehouse or something?
support and something. No, not a warehouse. No, it's actually like, yeah, some engineering services and support, and I don't
Okay,
know too much about it.
that's
They don't
crazy
have
though.
design, so I don't know about it. But yeah,
You know
uh,
the
by
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, well, like, fun fact, if it's even fun. Jeff Bezos is supposedly on his way to become the first trillionaire of the world
Wow,
because these
really?
days everybody's ordering from Amazon. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yet they still don't have enough money for vaccines. Go figure.
For vaccines, and like his employees from his warehouses just still qualify for food stamps, and they don't
Oh my
have
God.
protective gear for the people who work there, even though some of his employees were tested positive for COVID-19. So I don't want to sound bitter. I don't care that he's rich. I just think he's a terrible human being,
I, I,
just judging by the way he treats his employees.
it's just unreal how these people like I mean, obviously, we don't know what's happening in their lives and whatever, but how the hell is this logical in 2020? How is one person allowed to have so much power?
I think it's
How can
America.
you walk by people who are just they're just making ends meet whilst you can buy the whole world literally?
I think it's America because how can you have a full-time job as a worker in an Amazon warehouse and qualify for food stamps? That means you earn below the lowest income. What is that? How is that possible?
Yeah, how
Or the
does that
lowest
even
income
work?
is like, yeah, the lowest income is not even enough for you to be able to survive. How is that regulated? It's not regulated properly. I don't know how how US policy, work policy works, but it's obviously, I don't think it's
It
right.
just doesn't make sense at all. Like nothing.
They would call it
It's so
socialists most likely, but
it makes you depressed knowing that like someone can really help, but it just seems like it does. Obviously, we don't know what he's donating, this and that, but still,
but
even if the five richest people in the US came together, I'm pretty sure they could even pick up the US economy by
they
themselves.
could pick up probably like the economy of a continent, if not the whole world. I mean, just imagine one person. I'm sure Apple is already $1 trillion company, whatever. It's a company, but one person like Jeff Bezos, like how many lifetimes would he need to use all of that money? Can you
Yeah,
imagine?
I
It's
know.
yeah,
I mean, he could literally make his own lottery every week.
every week.
Just
Yeah,
give a 500,000 to someone, a lucky winner.
just because. Yeah, just because.
I mean, that would be awesome. Hopefully I'll
Yeah,
be able to pitch that to him someday.
yeah,
It's
he's
really
not gonna
weird
do that.
because I was reading some stuff about like a lot of tech companies or Silicon Valley in the US are lobbying for uh, digitized cities full of surveillance and so on and so forth. And this CEO of a company called SteerTech, she's called Anuja Sonaka, something like this.
Okay.
I picked a quote from her because they were talking about how things have to become the technology has to be upgraded and things become more automated. And she had a quote where it says, "Humans are biohazards, machines are not." And the thing
Um,
is, when people are thinking this way, I just feel like it's such a detriment to humans that it really does feel like doomsday.
oh my God. I don't even know what to say. I mean, to some extent, I see her point, but
Of course, it's
com-
logical if you think about it, yeah,
companies
but
companies
humans are
exist
humans.
for yeah, companies exist to serve humans. They don't exist to serve machines or to become the purpose of machines. Companies
It's
exist because companies want to, I don't know, solve a problem of humanity because they're gonna, I don't know, improve our society in some way, not just so humans can become obsolete.
And that's the other thing, like that's what you would think that people makes like you want to make a difference, you want to make something that will help someone, something it would be created for a cause. And then you hear that companies are fighting over the rights of vaccines, of who's going to have the patent for vaccines.
Oh
And
God.
Europe actually is fighting, like leaders in Europe, they're fighting for the vaccine to be for everyone. But companies
Right.
and countries even are fighting. And it's unreal, guys. It's 2020. What's going on? I don't understand.
It's yeah, I mean, you've probably heard that rumor that Trump he approached some German researchers who were working to come up with a vaccine for the COVID-19, and he wanted to just buy the patent from them, and they were like, "No, we're not going to sell it
Well,
to you. We want to make it public."
you don't even know if
I
it's a
don't.
joke anymore, especially if it's got Trump in the
No,
sentence.
it's super plausible. It's super plausible. I don't. I mean, with Trump.
I mean, they're gonna have a huge global talk tomorrow with all the leaders. It's gonna be an online meeting. And what was
Okay.
funny is uh, China doesn't want Taiwan to be in the call
Of
because
course.
they have to admit that they're part of China. Yeah,
Um,
even now they
no.
still find a way to have grudges.
I really dislike, and I don't want to use harsher words, but I really dislike China, and even worse, I dislike the way the World Health Organization has been really taking their side with Taiwan, with everything. I'm not sure if this is true, but I read an article the other day saying that the German Secret Service or whatever, they have found some recording of a call between the president of China and the president of World Health Organization, where the president of China was asking them to not declare a pandemic just yet and to postpone it for a few weeks.
Oh
And that
my
was
God,
like,
that's
and
crazy.
apparently that was like 2 weeks before the pandemic was declared or the epidemic was declared globally. Can you imagine if that is true? They literally allowed people to die in Europe because in Italy, if they had known before, they would have taken some measures earlier, and maybe thousands of people could have been saved. But
But even
if they
then,
actually
like you can
go
see
ahead.
how the agendas though, like because even then, after a month of preparation, Brazil has now they've surpassed even Italy.
I mean, Brazil is something else. I don't even get me started on Bolsonaro. He's
The president that you love.
yeah, I dislike him more than I dislike Trump, and that says a lot. Apparently, they've had two health ministers already removed just because Bolsonaro doesn't like them and because he doesn't want to take the right measures. And they already have, I don't know, over 15,000 deaths and like hundreds of thousands of infections. And just in a month, like you said.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I really wanted to talk to some people there. It's just that maybe on this show we can actually invite somebody. Maybe we can find a person to from Brazil to tell us more about what's happening there. I've heard that people, you know how in Italy people go out and they get out on their balconies and start clapping for
Yeah.
the medical staff. Apparently in Brazil they get out on their balconies and start yelling for Bolsonaro to retire, to
Oh
just
wow.
quit, because they apparently people can't take it anymore. They think it's really, the way he's handling this is really bad, but obviously he's not listening. He's going towards a dictatorship now. And I would really want to talk to somebody from there. So maybe if we can find a person who's willing to come in to our show, that would be really valuable.
I mean, maybe we should just find people in general from around and see their opinions on it. Hopefully, we'll be able to do that
Absolutely.
next week.
Absolutely. We would love to get whoever wants to be involved and just share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to like lighten up the mood a bit. I, I was watching this program the other day, and they said that I don't remember if it was in Dubai or Qatar or Saudi Arabia. It was in the Middle East. They have a competition for they have a camel pageant. Who has the
Oh my God.
prettiest or most beautiful camel? And apparently, like around 12 of the camels got disqualified because they found Botox in the camel.
Jesus. What, like, this is a parallel reality, I swear to God. I don't know what country this is, but I do know that Saudi Arabia has the pageant for goats as well.
Ah, really?
So
Wow, nice.
it's like, can you imagine a country that covers its female citizens does
Yeah,
beauty contests for goats and camels?
I,
Can
I
you
never
can
thought of
you
it that way, you
imagine that?
see.
I obviously I do, because yeah, I
Wow,
come from
that
like.
is eye-opening though. That's crazy.
Can you imagine? I was thinking, and I saw this like years ago, and I was like thinking, man, they think like beauty contests for girls are probably something sinful, something to be looked down on because it's shameful. But they do beauty contests for ghosts and camels. Like that's not ridiculous for them. And apparently they do Botox procedures on camels. Jesus
Do
Christ,
goats wear
that's
the
animal cruelty. I'm sorry.
do the
God.
goats wear the turban as well, or is it they're allowed to be?
I don't think so, and I think it's only female goats also.
Ah, really? Okay. I
I
don't know
think
about the
so.
camels. I have to see where it's at again, but I just found that
I
really funny.
I think yeah, I think it's Saudi Arabia. I'm not sure.
You know what's
But
the one thing that's happened with the pandemic as well? It's like people's idea of jokes has changed as well. Like when you say when you you refer to a joke as like I went into a bar. You can't you
yeah,
can't really do that.
that's not happening anymore. I was out. I was all alone at home just watching TV. Oh, no, that's not the start of a good joke.
Yeah, that's a good joke.
That's boring.
Every perception, everything you compare to. I mean, you watch past recordings like maybe a week or two before the pandemic, and you
Right.
hear people saying, "Oh, we're just gonna go next week to a wedding, or we're gonna fly out to wherever," and it's like, huh, if only you knew.
God, yes. Can you imagine? Even I was talking to my friends, and the other day, I have a friend. She went to Iceland late February, like in towards the end of February. She got there 1 or 2, like she had been there before. She wanted to return to find again a job, work in tourism because she worked in tourism there before, and she was like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go back. I miss it." And of course, like yeah, 2 weeks later, the pandemic started, and like tourism was down. She was just really trying to make her ends meet right now. Another friend of mine, he was going to go to Greece in at the end of March and also work in tourism.
Oh my God.
And that's not happening also.
Yeah.
Me, tomorrow, I was going to travel to Armenia and spend like a couple of months in the Caucasus region, just travel around Armenia, Georgia, Azerbaijan. I've been really wanting to do that for a long time now. My flight was canceled. Luckily, I got my money back. I mean, the ticket was pretty cheap, but I got my money back. But I was
That's
just
good.
talking to them, and we were all like, man, our plans, like, it's all dust. 2020 was like, screw your plans.
2020 was man. This year has just gone from bad to worse with the bushfire in Australia, and now the COVID
It really,
19, and
it
now the
really did have a
economy.
crappy start.
Yeah, we'll just see where it ends. But look, there's great times ahead, guys. Firstly, connections is going to be around, and hopefully, for someone who went this far into the episode, hopefully you stick around and next week for episode 2. You never know, and it will only get
It's only
better.
gonna get better from here.
Yeah, it will only get better. Trust us. We're gonna get some guests on as well, hopefully. No, we will. Then we will for sure. But hopefully, people with who are quite famous as well. Just
Not to
to
give any spoilers or anything.
yeah, just to get our rep up. Anyway, and did you have anything else to say to close out with, or?
Just to give us any suggestions, any topics that you want to talk about, or if you want to be on the show, just drop us a message. Well, yeah, we just love to chat, socialize.
Yeah. So thanks everyone for watching again, and see you soon. Have a good day.
Bye,
Bye
guys.
bye.